blanket feeling cold against your skin. Running through the chaos, letting all the sin. Temptation in a bottle, ready for the night. Craving for the thrill, it's time to ignite. Dark desires burning bright. Echoes in the dead of night. No retreat, no looking back on this heart attack.
Ladies and gentlemen, how are you going? It is the new year. We are in 2026 now. Brought in the new year with you the other night on Web Sleuths Live. That was a lot of fun. We got to spend 4 hours going through different cases from the year. But at some point, we need to go back to, the day we're on now, which is we're in 2026 now, so we can't keep reliving 2025. We have far too many important things happening in 2026, including missing girl found. So Sydney Marquez was actually located. We're going to talk about that. And then I have a very sad update from the UK. And you're like, Ping, the UK. We haven't done a case in the UK in a long time. And yes, but it is one we have been following for a couple of years. It is a very sad case about some babies. These babies were born and then left around places in London, and they were just dropped off in the middle of winter. They could have, frozen to death, but they were found. And for the last several years, they've been looking for the mother of the children. Well, there's an update, and I'm going to give it to you in a minute. But first, I want to head to the Sydney Marquez story because, I'm happy she's alive. It means our run of people being found alive continues into this year, continues. But it brings up some broader issues about missing people, I think, and some of the things we need to consider when we do missing people cases. All right, let's play the video.
Details after 24-year-old Sydney Marquez was found alive nearly 3 weeks after she went missing. Tonight, family tells KHU 11 News they still have not been able to speak with her and don't know where she is this evening. Orco Management is live from Jersey Village. Orco, we just got a statement from police. What did they have to say?
Yeah, Mia, that update from Jersey Village Police just came down a few minutes ago. They say that they talked with Sydney Marquez briefly this morning, but determined that she was not a threat or in danger to herself or to others, so they let her go. Police also say that they offered help to Sydney, but she declined. Now take a look at this. This is surveillance video showing who investigators say is Sydney walking down the street in Southwest Houston shortly before she was reported missing on December 11th. Jersey Village Police say that someone spotted Sydney just before 1 o'clock this morning at the intersection of Seattle Street and Senate Avenue, and that person called police. As I mentioned, police say they spoke to Sydney, but say she was not a danger to herself or others. And officers also say that the legal criteria for an emergency detention order were not met. Police say EMS gave a medical evaluation to Sydney on the scene and determined there were no visible signs of trauma and no immediate need for further medical attention.
So someone saw her when they were driving down the road and they called it in. And when they got there, they talked to her. She seemed lucid. She seemed okay. And they even got her a bit of a medical check with emergency services. But she passed all the medical checks and that she apparently is okay. So they don't have the power to hold her. She's 24 years old. She's not a child. And they let her go. That's it. Like, she's okay. For whatever reason, she doesn't want to go home. And yeah, this is her choice, I guess. They're saying police gave her a medical evaluation, determined that she wasn't suffering from any injuries or any health-related problems. They also say that they offered her accommodation to put her in a hotel and also offered her some food, but Sydney refused. Officers say Sydney then asked to leave on her own free will and that she didn't want any help, so the cops let her walk away. Now, Sydney's family is very mad. They're saying that cops should not have let her walk away. And they say when we found out that she was talking or taking or talking to police, we were so grateful. And they said then they got the phone call 2 hours later that they released her, and they said they don't even know what to say. They're just disappointed. They say our frustration really is that the police just didn't end up there. They didn't hold up their end of the deal by taking her to a hospital. Well, I understand what they're saying, but on the cops' point of view, they gave her a medical check. They asked the EMS to check her over, and they can't just drag her to a hospital if there's no medical or mental health. Like, yeah, unless she's a danger to herself or a danger to someone else, they can't just drag a grown woman off the street, no matter who's reporting her missing, and take her to a hospital. It's not possible. But I understand why they're upset. It's just, cops can't abduct people that are grown adults that seem lucid and just take them away. You know what I mean? They just can't do that. So I get it. Rachel said they can't hold her if she isn't in danger. If she isn't a danger to herself or to someone else, they can't hold her. Hey Robbie, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I saw Kathy here too. He's doing well. I'm glad to hear the update. I'm glad to hear the update about your husband. I'm glad the surgery went well. Uh yeah, so a bit of a sad ending in a way. We've seen a few different endings to missing people in the last few weeks. We saw, unfortunately, a couple in the last month that have wound up, unfortunately, dead. One who just didn't want to be with her family and told them she would return in a few days. And now Sydney's one where her family says she's mentally ill to the point where she's not acting like herself. But when speaking with police, she seems to pass all of their testing and requirements to be let go. So, random situations. Flyb said, so she was found and talked to by police and then allowed to leave. After that point, where did she go? Is she with her parents? No, no one knows where she is. So she left that location, and that's it. We don't know. She's off somewhere in Houston. Don't know where she might be. Um, but Sydney said here that she told police she would reach out to her mother via email at a later time. Police also say Sydney initially agreed to leave with the co-founder of Texas Counter Trafficking Initiative, who was contacted by Sydney's father, but she later declined after speaking with them. So there you go. Apparently, they offered her more help with a anti-trafficking team, and they just said nope. Sydney said, I don't want to do it. And they're saying here, Jersey police also said there was no indication of any criminal activity related to the incident, but the family is still wondering at this moment where Sydney is. They have not been able to speak to her directly. So that is the sort of update to it. I don't exactly know if we can place it in a good or a bad sort of category. I would place it in it's good to know she's alive. Can you guys hear the thunder? We got like crazy thunder going on. I'm glad she's alive, and we're probably just gonna have to leave it there, unfortunately. Peachy Keen gifted a membership. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. That is very, very kind. I hope the person who gets it enjoys the membership. Um, yeah, I hope they do. Thank you very much. It's very kind. So a very sad sort of roundup on that one. I don't know what's in the future for Sydney or her family. It's yeah. I mean, she's 24. I don't exactly know what more police could do. You know, I know what the family wanted, but you can't just abduct people off the street. You can't do that no matter what the family wants you to do. Texas said, this reminds me of the girl that walked to Mexico after flying there with the boyfriend. Oh, I don't know if I remember that one. Fly B said, I hope she's safe. You indicated she was in Houston. Do we know what part of the town? It seems like the last part, or the last place she was seen was Jersey Village. Jersey Village is where she was found on, I think it was Thursday night. So where Jersey Village is, I'll have a look. How far away is it from where she was missing from? That would be a good indication. Okay, that's Jersey Village. So she was found on the northwest side of Houston, but I'm pretty sure she went missing on the east side, right? Or am I right about that? If so, she's traveled quite a distance since we last heard from her. She's traveled quite far. Almost like, yeah, why would she be out this far in North Houston? There's a place called Moonlight Inn, sort of like Moonlight View. All right, here we go. So this is the area, Jersey Village, where they located her apparently. And if we zoom out, I'll show you. It is in that part of Houston. So that little up here, strange, a little weird, but what can we do? I can't force her to go home or whatever. But yeah, so it shows she's getting around at least. It shows she's moving from some location to other areas. So there we go. Let me take you back to the other page. There we go. Okay, I don't know what that means. Kathy Lynch said it was so sad to hear about the Swiss Alps bar fire. We'll talk about that later. Texas says to California and caught a bus to Mexico. Boyfriend went on to vacation. It seems familiar, but I can't quite place it in my brain. Marilyn says, wonder if she has a boyfriend. That would be good to know. I don't know that information, unfortunately. Hold on. All right. So that's the only update I have on that right now. If we find more, I'll let you know. But I want to take you to the UK one. Hold on. So there was a update in it, and it's unfortunately not the update that we sort of want. Yeah, here. So I don't know if you remember this story that I brought to you. I think it might have been over the last couple of years, but these little babies, baby Harry, and I think this is baby Roman. I think that was the last one they found. And then there was baby Elsa, who was the first one. They determined through DNA testing that all these babies found over several years were ended up being related. So they all came from the same mum, but they couldn't track down the mum, even though the baby was found in icy conditions in the UK, snowing, ice. That's why they called the baby Elsa. Well, apparently the cops in the UK have been using DNA technology, tracking it down using genetic genealogy, trying to find family that they could knock on their door and ask for a DNA test, trying to make the pool of potential families smaller to try and figure out who the mum is and how they can help her. Well, unfortunately, after years of work, they are going to most likely close the case. They're going to close the case. They have flown to different countries. They have DNA tested, I think they said almost 20 different households that might have been related to the babies. And they have not been able to get any closer to who the mum might be. And they're saying here, after 7 years, they are looking to wrap up the case. They now believe it's possible the mum may not even be in the UK anymore, and they have a feeling that she may have fled overseas. Now that she might not even be there anymore. But yeah, they're saying they had 15 officers that tried to scour 450 hours of local CCTV when the original baby Elsa, was abandoned, and they were unable to come up with anything in the CCTV. And then when the other two were found, they tried again and didn't find anything then either. They're saying here, detectives then analyzed properties considering whether the occupant could be a parent based on a DNA profile of the mother that they had compiled from genetic analysis of the 3 children. They then went through a painstaking process of knocking on doors and asking people to volunteer DNA samples. They drove they drove to Scotland, to Wales, East Anglia, Birmingham, the Cotswolds. They said they even tried to trace a family tree of people who had died. So apparently they've gone up and down the country trying to find who this mum might be and how they can help her. And they're saying here that their sort of leads have dried up, that they don't have anywhere else to go in the investigation to try and track down the mum. This is in the UK. Yep, this is in the UK, and it's very sad. So yeah, there will be no more investigation into who might be the mother to the 3 babies abandoned over several years in the same area in the UK. So it's really one of the cases where genetic genealogy just didn't work. We've heard so many success stories with genetic genealogy, especially in the USA, but in this particular one, it didn't work. They were not able to narrow down that gene pool or the family tree to try and find the mum. It's you know, a little sad, a little sad. All right, I want to take you to one of the updates from before this. So you guys, if you've never seen the story and you're like, what are you talking about, Ping? I will take you to where this happened originally and you'll get a bit of an update for it. All right, hold on.
Found abandoned in a park over 6 years ago. It's now been revealed the parents that left him there went on to abandon 2 more newborn babies, most recently a little girl in January this year. It was -5 degrees in this East London park when a dog walker heard her cries and found her wrapped up inside a shopping bag, her umbilical cord still attached. She was rushed to hospital where staff estimated she was less than an hour old and named her Elsa.
If you are the baby's mother, please know that your daughter is well. No matter what your circumstances, please do seek help by dialing 999.
But no one did, and DNA tests have shown Harry and Elsa share another sister known as Roman. Baby Harry was discovered in Newham's Plaistow Park in September 2017. Less than 2 years later came baby Roman, found around a mile away in some frozen playing fields. And in January, Elsa was discovered, all 3 abandoned within less than 2 miles of each other. It's extremely rare for babies to be abandoned in the UK, and an appeal by media organisations led the judge overseeing Elsa's case to lift the usually extremely tight restrictions on family court reporting, allowing the relationship between the babies to be made public. Less than 7 years after baby Harry was abandoned, both he and his sister Roman have been adopted and given new names, while Elsa remains in care. Police continue to search for their parents and understand what led them to abandon 3 newborn babies in such extreme circumstances.
Yeah, like they said, babies being abandoned in the UK is pretty rare, but to have 3 from the same mother in the same location over several years is, an obscurity. It really is. And yeah, a lot of people asking about the father. I'm not sure why they are not focusing on the dad or the paternal line, but for some reason they are only looking at the mum. I don't know why. I don't know if they suspect that maybe the dad is different in all 3 of them. I don't know. But SP Mama said the father might have no idea, especially if the mum left and didn't tell. I think that there's some idea, not that anyone knows. I think there's some idea that maybe the mum is in some sort of abusive situation, possibly. And this was the only way to sort of deal with her pregnancy. I don't know, but that's sort of what has been talked about. Sean said, wow, that's the flip side. They have deserving parents now. 2 of them do. Harry and Roman have new families. Elsa's the last one. I keep saying that she's the first. No, she was the last one they found. Elsa is still too young, I think, to be adopted out. At least I think so. And she won't be adopted out until she's a little older. So we'll see what happens with Elsa. But the reporting in the UK of children like this is very, very difficult. This was the first time they've ever allowed names and photos to be let out in this particular way. And the only reason they did it is one, the DNA tests basically showed that all 3 came from the same mum. And 2, it was in the grand scheme, in the good interest of the mum to try and track her down and make sure she's okay. But it failed. They have not been able to track it down at all. Peachy says, "Can I use Ko-fi via Google Pay instead of PayPal?" I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm not sure how it works. We're working on adding another option for the Ko-fi. There is an option where we can do it for like credit cards and things like that. Sound like a bank, but apparently there is a option. We're looking into it. So I appreciate the intention. I appreciate the intention. It's very kind. Kathy said, "Is there an age for adoption?" I think it's 2 years old. Hold on. Okay. I think children in care is 2 years, but okay. Yeah, it's over 2. So normally somewhere over 2 years old. Normally around 3.5 years is the average for children being adopted. So maybe baby Elsa still has some time to go. SP1 said, "I hope the mum isn't a young girl, like some sort of abuse situation, but likely mental illness. Hope baby Elsa gets adopted soon." Me too. It's a very sad story because it would be nice to be able to have the mum checked out to make sure she's okay and that she's in an okay situation. But unfortunately, one of the other things they said is that maybe the mum is not free to come forward and talk to police. Maybe there's some situation where she can't talk to authorities, which they think might be the case. So, uh, pretty sad. I think it would have been nice to be able to track her down, but at least she knows her babies are okay and they are alive. I think one of the things they were worried about, there was a gap in the cycle. So yeah, I think it was 18 months or something. There was sort of a cycle that it went on, and then they found a new baby, and then they found a new baby, and then it never happened. And then there was a gap, and then they found another baby, and they're worried that maybe there was a fourth child that they didn't find. And I know that that's something they are still worried about, that it seemed to work like clockwork that this woman would get pregnant and then put the baby in the, in the park or whatever, and that they're worried about this specific gap in between one of the babies. So let's hope that that never happened. But yeah. SP1 said someone around her has to know you can't hide 3 pregnancies like that. When you're dealing with what possibly could be an immigrant family, they don't want to talk to authorities. They don't want authorities talking to them at all. It could be something like that, a language barrier. Top Secret 2 said triplets. They are not triplets. They were born several years apart from each other. Hold on, I will tell you exactly how long. So the first one was in September of 2017. 2 years later, baby Roman came along in January of 2019. But then here's the gap between 2019 and 2024, a 5 year gap. It wasn't until January of 2024 that they found the third baby, baby Elsa. So that's that gap they're worried about between 2019 and 2024. Was there another baby in there, or maybe two? Was there another child or two in that gap? Because they're saying that this lady seemed to be getting pregnant like clockwork, and that, yeah, they're just a little worried that there was no other, maybe there was another kid out there. Uh, so baby Elsa was found inside of a shopping bag, and I'll show you the image. This is one of the only clues that they've ever had besides the children themselves. But this shopping bag is where they found baby Elsa. And that's about the only clue they have. She put the baby in here, dumped it, and that's it. So, hey, Top Secret, good to see you. SP1 said gap could be a miscarriage, health problems, no prenatal, postnatal care after major birth issues. Could be. It could be. I just know that they're a bit worried that there could have been a kid that they've never found, which, when you think of the circumstances for all 3 of them, often dumped in the winter in the UK, dumped when it's snowing outside, it's sub-zero temperatures. It's very easy, I guess, for detectives to think that they maybe missed a child and the child froze to death and they've never located it. So I hope not. I hope that's not what happened, but there you go. That's around, you can see the line of where they found each baby. And they said that each child was found in a location where there wasn't any CCTV, and they were not able to sort of get any CCTV of like directly when the baby was dropped off. So the mom was very clever in that she chose very good locations, which would allow her the cover of sort of darkness or whatever to get out of there and not be spotted or end up on CCTV. So yeah. SPL says so strange and amazing. These 3 all survived. It is a miracle. Peachy said, reminds me of a situation with one of my high school students. So very sad, and that was only 1 infant. The fact that this is 3, I think, is what makes it very unusual for the authorities and everyone. Gail said, how does she only give birth in winter? Wow. I mean, I don't know. Uh, It's 9 months till you give birth to a baby. Maybe it's every summer, like the year before or something, and it's 9 months. So maybe for some reason, every summer there's a lot of sexual activity or something. I don't know. I'm not sure why. It could just be random. Like what are the dates again? So the first one was a little off. The first one was actually pretty close to the UK summer. The first one, September 2017, but the next two, both in January. The baby Roman, January 2019. Baby Elsa, January 2024. That's an interesting detail. Why both January? I don't think if you had a mum, say you had a mum, and she's like, I'm going to have my babies, right? And she's like, okay, I'm going to I'm going to have 3 kids. I don't think a mom that deliberately wanted to do this could plan it this well to have 2 babies born in the same month back to back. I don't think even a mum who wanted to do it could do that. So that's really interesting. It's I don't think you could deliberately somehow line up your births that well. So yeah, but the last two both found in January. Only baby Harry in 2017 was found in September, which broke the sort of January thing. Kim said I had one fall and one winter baby, 16 and a half months apart. SP Mama said some women are only fertile in certain times, but my best friend had 4 babies all within the same month. That's crazy. Peachy said, sorry, but the possibilities just hit me. It's can you imagine being a detective working on this particular case? I don't know where you'd start, who you'd look at. It would be a very difficult case, but like they said, they even got down to door knocking on homes in the area with people who match the genetic profile, and sort of, they might be from X country or from some sort of background, and they knocked on their door and took DNA tests. They said though they never once got knocked back for a DNA test. They apparently, all the people they visited, once they knew why they needed the DNA, everyone gave up the DNA test. So, um, yeah, there's a little tidbit up here that I wanted to talk to you about. Um, yeah, so then detectives analyzed properties in the area, considered whether the occupants could be a parent based on the DNA profile, and they, yeah, door knocked everyone trying to find the parents for them, but no luck. And they're saying here, yeah, they saying here each time they thought they had a lead to the mum. Every time they went down that path, did the testing, waited for the time for it to come back, each time it turned out not to be the people they were looking for. They said we knocked on over 100 houses. Each time we had a potential match, we had to explore all of that person's family, which would generate new lines of inquiry. We felt like we needed to do absolutely everything we could. Police are now nearing the end of that trawl, with a review due in January to decide whether to close the case. They said, I now think that the mother may have gone abroad. She may have been forced to leave the area. She may be being controlled. They said, if someone comes forward with new intelligence, we will investigate, but we have pretty much exhausted pretty much everything we can do. So they're saying that their investigation will most likely be closed out in a couple of weeks' time, that they just don't know where else to go with it. They're basically done. So that is not the ending I think anyone sort of hoped for. I think we all hope we'd be able to track down the mum and try and help her, but Nope, doesn't seem so. It was in, I want to say Manchester, but I'm probably wrong. Sorry, I am wrong. It is in Plaistow or Plaistow in East London. East London. Let's have a look. I don't know where that is. I know where some things are in London, but not Plaistow. Yeah. It is here. So this is actually the babies were all found along this particular First Avenue, if I'm remembering correctly. But what is shocking is not far from where the babies were found, there is a hospital, Newham Hospital, and she could have gone there. But if the theory is correct that she was being controlled, then maybe she couldn't get there. But if we zoom out, you'll see sort of, oh no, that doesn't work. But there is a London Airport right here. And you can see the airport terminals. And it is just north of it. So this is the suburb where she was found. And you can see how many green spaces are around. She had a lot to choose from. There's one here. There's one over here. A lot of different greenery type areas where she could have access to. Somewhere without CCTV. There's the Roman Road playing fields. I think this is where one of the babies was located, and that's why they called it Roman, is because of where it was found. So that's people asking, why did the little girl be called Roman? I think it's because it was found near the Roman Roads playing fields. Heathrow, yeah. It's I'm pretty sure it's Heathrow, right? I don't think London has two airports. I think they just have one. It looks like it. London Airport. I would think this would have. Is this Heathrow? Do they only have one terminal? I would have thought Heathrow had like 50. That can't be Heathrow, can it? I don't know. I would have thought no. I would have thought that's a different airport. Yeah, Heathrow's over here. I was about to say, like, it didn't have that many runways, and a major terminal would have, like this, what we're looking at now, like 50 runways. So yeah, no, it's a different one. A tiny little airport, maybe used for other types of flying. But this is Heathrow. Wow, it just looks like spaghetti. It is a monstrous airport, Heathrow. Wow. No wonder they say it's one of the biggest airports in the world. That's bonkers. God, how many terminals do they have? Terminal 4 and this is all cargo. Heathrow's main part here, Terminal 2, Terminal 3. God, jeez. I didn't realize they had so many. Terminal 5, Terminal 5B, Terminal 5. I wonder what they're used for. Because they're not connected to the other ones. Interesting. There you go. That's Heathrow. Nothing to do with our story tonight. Nothing. Callie says, does the UK have baby boxes at fire stations? I don't believe they do. I don't believe that's a thing in the UK. Hold on. That's interesting, though, that we just talked about it. I don't think they did, but according to... no, they don't. So they do not in the UK. It seems to be an American thing. And they apparently, if you live in Rumford in Maine, they just opened up a new one. So they just opened up a new one for New Year's Day in Maine. But yeah, I don't believe they're a thing in the UK or Australia. Seems to be an American idea. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. See, this one, woman campaigns to introduce baby boxes in the UK. So yeah, it's not a thing over here. Yep, they're saying here. Yep, not a thing. So yeah, no babies could be taken to a baby box, unfortunately. Atlanta airport. I don't think I've ever been to Atlanta's airport. No. Okay. All right. There you go. So the update on the 3 babies, not a great ending, but hey, it is what it is. At least the babies survived. That's what we got to look at. Babies survived. That's a decent conclusion, even if we can't find the mum. All right, everyone wants to talk about what happened in that fire. So let's have a talk about it, because it is pretty interesting. There are some good details that I want to talk about in this. They call it a flashover fire. So hold on. Yeah, there we go. No, that's not what we want. Sorry about that. Apparently, our links are not working. Hold on. Here we go.
Swiss officials say an initial investigation shows that sparklers on top of champagne bottles ignited the deadly fire at a ski resort on New Year's Day. 40 people were killed and another 119 injured as the blaze ripped through the busy La Constellation bar at Crans-Montana. Police say they are still trying to identify the dead, saying the extent of the injuries has made the process difficult.
Deuxième priorité, l'identification des victimes. Je vais pas répéter.
The second priority is identification of the victims. I won't repeat what has already been said. It is a priority, and the resources, I'll mention it shortly, will show you that the canton can and does have significant reinforcements to put an end to this unbearable weight that is now weighing on the families.
Well, our reporter, Sign Valance, has more from Crans-Montana.
The main takeaway was that they believe the cause was sparklers, and quite powerful sparklers put in champagne glasses and held too close to the roof. We've seen now some photos and some footage of the sparklers being held close to the roof, and then of the fire when it just started. Somebody sort of tries to put it out, but it quickly takes hold, and before too long, the whole bar is engulfed. It is a basement bar, and we understand a lot of people said that they couldn't get out. Basically,
Let me show you the photo and what they're talking about. So you see these bottles of champagne with these sparklers on top, and people holding them in the air, and then you can see the roof is starting to light up. And apparently they had what they consider a flashover event, which is not a great thing. It's very dangerous, which is where everything just sort of auto ignites. And that is why, like, there was giant fire crawling across the roof, and then it spread to even people's clothing. There was people rushing out of that place that actually were on fire. The other thing was, there were people trying to get out, and like they said in that news coverage, the sort of way you get out of it is very compact. It's a very small walkway. And when you have an emergency, what do you think happens? Well, everyone fights to get out. Everyone, they don't just walk out in a timely manner. No, they try and push and shove and try and get, I want to be first out. Is my life is worth more than yours. And here's a photo of what it looked like from from the outside. And that's what a lot of people actually got damaged from and hurt, was being trampled on the way out, because people were pushing and shoving and stepping on people. Really, really horrible. You would hope, or you would think, that people would sort of help people, but apparently not. Apparently, people just do what we all hope that people don't do, which is act like animals, push, shove, hurt people to get what you want. Yeah, I think there's another photo of the bar. Hold on. So you saw it when it sort of started. Here's what it looked like when it got going. Still from the foam noise. It's like a noise barrier, and you can see it spreading all through the roof, and people on their phones taking video. But yeah, you can see it spreading and just getting larger and larger. Pretty horrific sight. Panic reflex. It is a little bit of a panic reflex. Peachy said, what was the disco dance club in the USA that went up? There was one in Boston. Is it Boston where it happened, like 30, 40 years ago? And it burnt down when there was people inside of it. I think that's the one that we're talking about. Let's see. It might have been Rhode Island. Sorry, not Boston. I think it's the Station nightclub fire from 2003. I think that's the one that a lot of people would know about. It was a pretty famous fire that occurred in a in a club, that type of thing. Let me see. I don't think I can show you any photos. Yeah, it's not a great photo, but this is what was left after the fire. Killed a bunch of people, unfortunately. They're saying 100 people were killing 100 people and injuring 230 people. So that was not a great night. What else did they say? This was interesting too. Pyrotechnic display ignited flammable acoustic foam. That's sort of what happened here too. The sparklers on the drinks ignited acoustic foam. That's what you see on the roof in this photo here. That's what's on the roof. Acoustic foam. So two very deadly fires. One in this one in Europe, the other one in America, both caused by flammable acoustic foam. Pretty weird that they still use a flammable product in this type of environment. I would have thought after something like, the station one where it killed 100 people, they may have outlawed using a flammable material. So why they still use it, I don't know. I would have to find out, but here, let's have a look. No, that's not what we want. I was trying to see if we could find a better view. So I don't know what this sort of photo is from, but this is one of the ones doing the rounds here. You can see someone here and like a giant fireball on the roof of that bar, but I'm not sure what it is actually from. All right, let me take you back to the video. We may learn a bit more.
they were climbing over each other. It sounds just horrifying. And essentially, that is now one of the things that authorities will be investigating. It is a major multi-agency investigation, not only looking at the cause, and authorities say they aren't ruling anything else out at this stage, but they're also looking at whether compliance issues could have made this tragedy even worse. Not only a lack of emergency exits, but also whether the cladding on the roof was legal, given how quickly the blaze took hold, and also whether the amount of people who were inside was the permitted amount. Now, we understand that authorities are saying if those rules have been broken, there could be serious consequences. Take a listen to what the Attorney General had to say.
There will be a possibility to examine whether there is any criminal liability involving individuals. If this is indeed the case, and these individuals are still alive, an investigation will be opened against them for negligent arson, negligent homicide, and negligent bodily harm.
Yeah, some of the vision coming out of that basement bar was really quite shocking, Cyan. We know that at least 40 people have died. What can you tell us about the victims?
Yeah, I'll stop it here. You hear them talking about like what kind of charges could be found if they could find the people responsible. And then you think to yourself, well, it was known for years that they were doing this, doing the bottles with the sparklers, holding it up on the roof. Was no one concerned back then? Why are we only concerned when people die? Why are people not concerned when people don't die? Like, it could have been avoided if you went, wow, these people every weekend seem to have these bottles with pyrotechnics attached to it, holding them up in the air against a flammable ceiling. It almost just seems like no one cared. It's almost like, yeah, that's fine. We don't mind if people do this and put their bottles in the air with the sparklers on it, melting the bloody acoustic foam on the roof. I mean, it's almost like they were just like, oh, we'll just wait for something to go wrong. It's fine. We'll do something about it after people die. That's all good. It's just really, really very silly. Here, I'll take you out to Sky News in the UK. They have a video of the fire spreading at the actual bar, and you'll see how brutal this is. Here's that fire.
To show the start of the flames.
I'm going to pause it, but there it is. Look at that. Why are people like jumping around as if it's a party? That's frightening. That is absolutely frightening to be in a enclosed area with a bunch of drunk people with that much fire on the roof. I wonder if did they just not realize, or it does not that's pretty alight. Like, I think if you on the grand scheme of things that are on fire, that's pretty on fire. So Gail said the music was still on and nothing was announced early enough. Everyone must have forgot their eyes at home. They must have been like, yeah, this is part of the New Year's Eve spectacular. A roof on fire. That's frightening. It really is. No wonder people panicked when they finally realized what was actually going on. You can tell why they got that auto ignition too. It was probably sitting smoldering, burning, and then everything just went kaboosh and lighted up. Very, very sad. So we didn't escape out of New Year's with no deaths, unfortunately. 40 people killed. That's what they're saying. 40 people now killed in that fire. Let's have a look. Yeah, they're saying here, authorities said in a press conference on Friday, sparklers attached to the champagne bottles were held too close to the ceiling, appearing to start the blaze in the basement of Le Constellation Bar in Crans, Montana. They're saying, but how the fire took hold with such ferocity, killing at least 40 people and leaving 119 injured, will now be a key focus for authorities. So it sounds like we're going to have to wait for their investigation to unfold. But you can kind of see these people here. Here you go. These look like wait staff who were bringing the bottles out for people. This person is on the shoulders of someone, and look how close those bottles are to the roof. They're basically touching it. So sounds like they were asking for trouble. That's true. They probably aren't looking at the ceiling. Wendy said, "I can't fathom the pain the survivors are going. Almost burning alive or having like severe burns. It's horrible. Burns wards. I feel very sorry for a lot of the people. It would be like the recovery. I don't want to think about it. Sounds awful. All right. That's your update in that one. I don't want to talk too much on it. I want to talk. We have other stories that we want to talk about. Hold on. Yes. I want to take you to Missouri, and David Nugent is who we're going to look at. David Nugent. And he has been arrested, and he is accused of killing his own mom. After getting into a highway pursuit, officers ended up finding him, arresting him. And I just want to grab this information here. Here's his photo. I'll put it up. He obviously looks very enthralled to be in police custody, but he's been charged with murdering his 72-year-old mom, and his mom's name's Terry Nugent, or they used to call her Tracy. And I want to bring up the press conference with Missouri Highway Patrol about this incident. Yeah, this one.
Blues 215, left lane. Good spike. Good spike. 52.4 westbound. Another good spike. Westbound 52 speeds about 100. Starting to smoke pretty good.
So what you can see is it's Missouri Highway Patrol chasing after this suspect, and they've tried to throw out the spike strip a couple of times. I don't know if it actually got him, but they tried a couple of times to puncture those tires. So that's what you're seeing.
And 51.4. Slow down to about 70. Going to the shoulder. 1050.
Do not move! Lay on your stomach now! Lay on your stomach! Put your hands behind your back now! I got car. Keep your hands on your back. There you are.
So I wish that was a more widescreen view. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, they posted it in this type of angle, which is very annoying. It would have been great to have that in a wide view. Let me double check if I can. No, it's only on their bloody reel. That's okay. Yeah, I'll take you to another update about Mr. Nugent, who killed his 72-year-old mother. He's 38. He's now facing aggravated fleeing a stop charge. He remains in custody awaiting extradition to Illinois, where he will face that murder charge for his mom. So Tracy Nugent, she unfortunately no longer with us, and they had been tracking his gray Toyota Tacoma as he'd been driving near Emma using the truck's location data. So the truck had the tracker in it, and that's how they were following him around. Sounds like a clever guy. Remember we talk about criminals who are dumb? This guy might be one of them. All right. Oh, this is not the video we wanted? Okay. Fine. Fine. We'll do it the hard way. We'll do it the hard way. Let me see if I can get to the other video. I can't. I don't know why it's not letting me, but that's okay. But they're saying here on December 27th, 2025 at approximately 1:30 p.m., O'Fallon police responded to a residence in the 1300 block of Balsa Lane in O'Fallon for a well-being check on 72-year-old Terry Nugent after family members were unable to reach her. Upon arrival, officers discovered Terry deceased inside the residence. Her death was deemed suspicious and the result of violence. Early in the investigation, her son David was identified as a person of interest. Further efforts to locate him were immediately initiated. At approximately 4:30 p.m. that same day, the Missouri State Highway Patrol located David traveling westbound on I-70 near Concordia, Missouri. David attempted to flee from the troopers but was taken into custody following a crash on I-70 at mile marker 51. David was transported to a local hospital for treatment, charged with felony fleeing, and subsequently released into the custody of Lafayette County Sheriff's Department. So he is going to be now taken back to Illinois, and they will charge him over his mother's death, which is good news, is very good news. Tracked him down pretty quick. Let me see what else we can find about Mr. Nugent. So on Wednesday, he was charged with he was charged in his home state with that murder charge and concealment of a homicidal death. There you go. Apparently, he hit his mother in her face, then put plastic wrap over her nose and mouth. Prosecutors said he then turned on the gas in the home and left a lit candle inside the home with the intent on causing an explosion at the property. There you go. But it never happened because the cops ended up doing that welfare check to check on her, and that's how they ended up finding her dead at the property. So the home never exploded. I mean, that's good news, but here we go. Yeah, charging documents filed by St. Clair County State Attorney's Office allege that in regard to the first count, David Nugent struck, I'm going to say struck his mother about the face and then placed plastic wrap over her nose and mouth. They're saying here that David, with knowledge that Terry had died by homicidal means, concealed the death of Terry by activating unlit gas burners on a stove to fill the property with gas, left a lit candle inside the home with the intent to cause an explosion. So yeah, he tried to blow up the property. Let's see. Apparently, they're still waiting on the autopsy for the 72-year-old woman, which is pending. I wish we could have got this on a bigger view. That was what we were showing you before. Unfortunately, we've only got that tiny little square. Yeah, let's have a look. I thought I saw a tire fly off the car at one point. Right here. Let's see. Right before that. I thought he was driving with like no tire at one point. Yeah, there you go. He lost an entire tire. Just rolled away from him. Don't you hate when tires do that? They're saying here that his mother's death is considered undetermined they haven't got the autopsy results back on her body as of yet. What else are they saying? So his mom, 72 years old, worked at a nail salon, and that's apparently she was known by heaps of people from customers that work there, and they all remember her and they call her Tracy. So that's how the Tracy name got into it, because she was so well known. And there's a lot of people on Facebook in a local group for the area here. They're saying, so this is about David, and they're talking about the mom. And apparently, this lady goes, "I will miss, hi, honey." And apparently, this is how she would greet people at the nail salon. So that's really cute. They're saying here, Melissa Rogers says, "I want to share a funny story about Tracy. She was my mum's nail lady for years and years. They shared stories about their lives with one another every time my mum went in. After mum got diagnosed with cancer and wouldn't feel good, she went to get her nails done, and I think it was for more the friendship than just the nails. My dad raised chickens, and my mum would talk about it with Tracy and told her one time that I didn't like to receive the eggs until they were washed off because I didn't like the dirty eggs. She says, "Well, I walked to pick my mum up from her appointment and she introduced me to Tracy. And the first thing she said was, 'Oh, you're the one who doesn't like poop on her eggs.'" She just laughed and laughed, and it was said anytime after that when she saw me. It was sort of an off story, but always made me laugh. She always cared so much for my mom that when she passed, she came to my mom's funeral, spoke volumes of the kind of person Tracy was. And Melissa says she's just catching up now about the death of Tracy. She said, "It sounds like she did a lot of people's nails." This lady called Mackenzie said that Tracy did my grandmother's nails, and she was doing my toenails last Friday. She was always so sweet. So a lot of people in the comments here saying she was the sweetest lady. A lot of customers of the business. That's really sad. Hundreds of comments in the local group for Tracy. A lot of people sharing stories and what they remember about her, and to work so hard, working in a nail salon at 72. It's insane. They're saying here that a lady named Cindy says Tracy and David used to do my nails when I lived in town. So David even worked there too. Hmm. But yeah, hundreds of comments. Look at this. I can't even load them all. So many people love that lady. It's really nice. She's going to be fondly remembered by the town. Fondly. I wish they said what nail salon it was, but I don't think they did. Yeah. Let's put this one. Look at the sun. What would cause this guy to do this to his mom? I don't know. I don't have a photo of Tracy, unfortunately. Hold on. Terry. I don't have a photo of his mom. I don't know why there would not be a photo if she did everyone's nails. You would think there'd be a lot of photos of his mom. Hold on, I'll check one other place. Maybe I could find a photo of his mom. Here, let's go here. I yeah, unfortunately, I can't find a photo of the poor lady, which is very sad. No, oh, yes, I do have a photo. It's not a great photo, but I do have a photo of her. Let me see if I can get a better quality of that. Give me 1 second. Yes, I can do that. Here is his mum. So this is his mum, Terry, here. That looks like, I'm not sure. That looks like her at a temple type thing, but I'm not sure what exactly it is. But that's his mum there. That's his mum, Terry. So, yeah, yeah, I do. So hold on. It's Terry and the son. The son is wait. The mum is Terry Tracy Nugent, and the son is David. So hold on. I'll put it in chat. That's how you spell his mum's name. And if I give you his, and his name is the same, just without, obviously his name is not Terry. Yeah, there you go. And that's the son, David. There's also some weird photos of the kid. Hold on. I'll show them to you. I saw some photos of him, him doing, hold on. It looks like he was active when he was young, doing like sports type things here. Wait, what is that? Alameda? That can't be right. No, that's a different guy with the same name. I was about to say, I don't think he lives in Alameda. All right, I'm going to take you out to Fox 32 in St. Louis.
Man accused of murdering his 78-year-old mother in O'Fallon, Illinois, was arrested today near Kansas City following a police chase. 38-year-old David Nguyen is accused of murdering his mother on Saturday, December 27th. He was identified as a person of interest and a search began. Today, he was seen driving on I-70 near Concordia, but when troopers tried to pull him over, he fled. He was arrested after crashing his car. He is awaiting extradition back to Illinois, facing that charge of murder.
That's weird. Did they say 78? I've got it as 72. Let me double check my source for the information. I've got it as 72, not 78. So that's bad information from Fox in Illinois. Man, literally. Let me double check my other. Yeah, 72-year-old Terry Nguyen. So 72, not 78. And what else are they saying here? Yeah, that's about it. We're going to have to wait for him to get back to his hometown, and he'll be extradited probably sometime during this week. And then we'll probably find out a bit more about what they found during that autopsy. But the bit we know is that he struck her in the head before placing plastic wrap over her nose and mouth. There you go. So he maybe suffocated her with the plastic wrap around the face. Oh, did I? No, it's 72. 72. Kim said it's roughly 4 hours away, O'Fallon, Illinois. Yeah. It's just across the Mississippi River from St. Louis. Okay. That I don't know where that is, but yeah, sure. I believe you. I believe you. I when we get an update on it, I'll let you know, but that's all I know at the moment about it. I do have another one from New Year's Day, a murder in Kansas. Unfortunately, seems we can't get away from people being killed. Man charged over a stabbing death in Gardner, Kansas. Does that guy look like he has blood on his face? Look at this. Is that blood? Let's play the video.
And in Gardner, a 34-year-old man is facing charges in a deadly stabbing. Kevin Marino has been charged with premeditated first-degree murder. This started after officers responded to a home along Walter Street about 2 in the morning yesterday. Police believe Marino and another man got into a fight, which led to the victim being stabbed. That victim has now been identified as 28-year-old Jason Rosado from Overland Park. Marino is being held on a $1 million bond. And in
A $1 million bond. All right. Kevin Byron Moreno, charged with first degree murder, intentional and premeditated. Well, you know you're screwed when they tell you it's been intentional and premeditated. Let's see what else we can find. Can we find anything else about him? So he attacked someone, charged in connection with a deadly stabbing in Gardner on New Year's Day. At 1:46 a.m. on Thursday, officers were dispatched to a reported disturbance at a home on Walter Street. When officers arrived, they found a victim who had been stabbed to death. They identified that victim as Jason A. Rosado, a 28-year-old man from Overland Park. On Friday, Kevin Byron Moreno, 34, was charged by the Johnson County District Attorney with first-degree murder for the stabbing. He's been held in the county jail, on a $1 million bond. Okay. Let's find more about Jason. Can we get a photo of the young man? Let's see what else I can find about him. I can't find anything about. I don't know what happened in this particular one, but Kevin is the one who lives at the address. So who is Jason A. Rosado? And if he lives in Overland Park, was he trying to break into the property? That's what I'm trying to find out. Here's his photo, by the way. I don't know what that red stuff is on his face, but there's some sort of red. Just that police were called to the home just before 2 a.m. on Thursday. They were called about an armed disturbance. The caller said somebody had been stabbed. Police found Jason A. Rosado on the ground with serious injuries. He was pronounced dead when paramedics arrived. Kevin has been charged with first-degree murder. Police have not provided any more information about what happened that night. I don't know what is going on. What happened at this one? It's very odd. Because they're saying that the guy arrested lives at the address. And the other guy, Jason A. Rosada, the guy who was stabbed to death, lives in Overland Park, not at that address. So I don't know if they were partying together on New Year's Eve and things got out of hand. I don't know. Peachy said that is stolen cash die. So he opened they robbed somewhere, got cash, and it blew up in his face, maybe? Interesting. New Year's Eve party? Yeah, possibly. You would think at 1 a.m. on New Year's Eve, that would most likely, or New Year's Day, That would most likely be what they're up to. I'm just trying to see if we can find anything else about it. Yeah, I get if it was a party, but why would they call it an armed disturbance? That's normally like when someone is breaking into a property. Ah. According to police, a preliminary investigation revealed that a disturbance ensued inside the house, which led to Rosado being stabbed. So it sounds like, yeah, maybe there was a party or something going on. And then at some point, a knife was produced. All right, let me close. We got far too many links open. Hold on, guys. All right. All right, there we go. Armed with a knife. Well, I don't know. Peachy said robbing a dealer or illegal gambling. It could be, but either way, this guy is now in jail. He's gonna be facing like they said, intentional and premeditated. That's the word they're using to describe the crime. Um, yeah, first degree murder, intentional and premeditated. If that's what they're gonna class it as, then apparently that's it. Strange. Hold on. Let's see if I can find anything else from a local. Maybe we can find something from a local news station. Doesn't seem so. All the local news are just reporting on very small facts here.
Working to find out more about a deadly stabbing overnight in Gardner. Police found the victim inside a house on Walter and 170th Terrace. Police have a suspect in custody. The name of the victim hasn't been released as relatives are still being told first.
That's it. That's all the information we have. I wish I had more about it, but that's all you're going to get until I get an update. Whatever happened inside that home, we're going to have to wait to find out anymore. Yeah. Just before 2 a.m. on Thursday, police responded to the residents in the 16,900 block of Walter Street in Gardner on reports of an armed disturbance. The caller advised the 911 operator that a man had been stabbed. Upon arrival, the officer contacted the occupants of the home and observed a man on the ground with serious injuries. The victim succumbed to his injuries at the scene. A preliminary investigation revealed that a disturbance ensued inside the home, which led to the victim being stabbed. The victim has been identified as Jason A. Rosado, a 28-year-old of Overland Park. The suspect, identified as 34-year-old Kevin Moreno, was taken into custody on a request charge of first-degree murder, being held on a $1 million bond, and is due in court on Monday. So on Monday, we'll find out more about what happened at that home on New Year's Eve / New Year's Day to result in this guy, wherever he came from, being killed. Whatever that's about. I don't know. Top secret. Good night, my friend. Yep. Have a good night. Ah, all right. I don't know if do I have any more for today? It might be a light night tonight, but tomorrow I'll be back. There'll be no show with Web Sleuths tomorrow, so I'm going to be on early tomorrow. I'm going to be on a lot earlier than tonight. Thank the Lord. I'm going to be on much earlier. Hold on. I think we got one more story. If I can We got two, but I'm just trying to find out which one we're going to do tonight. That one. Uh-huh. Okay. All right, I'm going to take you to ABC 10, and this one's good. Anytime we get a reward from the FBI, I want to talk about it because that means serious business. So, hold on. Here we go. Take you out to ABC.
Tonight, a grandmother's fight to find her two missing grandchildren strengthens after the FBI offered a reward to help find the man wanted in the death of her daughter. Cameron Lee is accused of killing Angelica Bravo more than a year ago and taking their children. Investigators believe he may be in Southern California or Mexico. ABC 10's Roxana Elias joins us live in the studio after speaking with Bravo's family today. How are they doing?
Well, Nazi, it's been a year and a half since Angelica Bravo was found dead inside Cameron Lee's home in Sacramento. And as more time passes, Bravo's family lives in agony without knowing where the children are or if they are in danger. For the family of Angelica Bravo, this holiday season has a different meaning as they continue to search for her two children who police say were taken by their father after she was killed in July of last year.
The holidays obviously are really difficult for the whole family. We sure miss them and feel their absence, of all three of them, Angelica and the kids, because they just brought so much light and liveliness to all the family get-togethers. It's a lot quieter now.
Bravo's mother, Dawn Bodea, says Christmas was one of her favorite holidays. She says the family now copes with her loss by leaning on one another and honoring Angelica's legacy.
We covered this back when it happened in San Mateo County. It was like a year ago. And I didn't realize it was still ongoing. I didn't realize. I thought it had been sort of wound up by now. But they're saying here, Sacramento police said they were called to a North Sacramento home just before 7:30 p.m. on July 8, 2024, and found Angelica Bravo dead. Their children 4 and 2 were not in the home, and they are still looking for those children. They're saying here, toxicology testing revealed the presence of MDMA, MDA, and cannabinoids in the dead woman's system, but officials have said homicidal violence could not be ruled out and subsequently charged Cameron Lee with murder. They're saying anyone with information of where he might be and the children are urged to come forward. Yeah, I remember when Athena Lee and Mateo Lee were first put up on I think it was a Amber Alert. So it's been a while. Let's have a look. They're saying $25,000 for the information that leads to the arrest and conviction of Cameron Lee, and another $25,000 is being offered for information leading to his children, Athena and Mateo. Yeah, I remember when this happened. They're saying here that that she had abrasions and contusions on her body, including on her torso, head, face, and extremities. Her tongue had hemorrhaging, possible signs of smothering. Then you have also the toxicology results that found that MDMA, MDA, and cannabinoids in her system. So very strange toxicology results for a woman who they believe was murdered, unfortunately. Yeah, I'll play the rest of this video.
FBI recently announcing it's offering a $25,000 reward for the location, arrest, and conviction of 40-year-old Cameron Lee, and another $25,000 to help with the recovery of Athena and Mateo. These are the latest pictures shared by the FBI showing Cameron's body tattoos.
That was a big relief just to know that they're going to put out a reward. I feel like that could really help, bring someone out that knows something. So, I mean, personally, I was just very relieved and glad that it was happening. Kind of felt like finally we're getting some kind of, traction or motion that can maybe bring somebody out of the woodwork.
The grandmother says it's sad knowing she's missing out on all the passing milestones with her grandchildren. And she feels Athena, now 5, and Mateo, now 3, need to be with their family, including their 13-year-old sister.
My heart really goes out to, of course, my granddaughter Natalia and Angelica's little brothers, who they were like her kids too, and I know that it's been really hard for them.
I hope they can find those children where they could be now. I got no idea. Where could they have fled to? I think is what they're trying to find out. They're saying here, July 10, 2024, a vehicle believed to be driven by Lee entered Mexico. Sacramento PD said the vehicle, a Honda 2023 Passport, had reportedly been a loaner vehicle from a dealership. They later found the vehicle abandoned in Ensenada in Mexico. In addition to murder, Lee has been charged with 4 counts of possession of an assault weapon. He also has a federal warrant for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. They're saying if anyone has information on where in Mexico or further that that this wanted man might be with the children, call 800 call FBI, which is 800-255-5324, or online at tips.fbi.gov. You can also call the Sacramento Police at 916-808-5471. Your information can be kept anonymous with your name being removed if you call the Sacramento PD. So let's hope that that's a good update. $50,000, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So hopefully that encourages someone to come forward. Yeah, it's been a long time. 2024. They could not even be in Mexico anymore, though. They could be, like, who knows where they could be. It's been almost 2 years. In a few months' time, it'll be 2 years. People can go anywhere. They could have jumped a boat, gone to another southern country. There's a lot of transport of people between a lot of those southern countries. So hopefully they're still in Mexico, trying to hide out. But the family deserves to have someone held responsible for the death of that young lady, but also have the children back and give them a better life. Can't be a great life being on the run with dad, who's wanted for murder, Cameron Lee. Let me give you a photo of them both. Yeah, here we go. Here's a photo of Cameron Lee. He has a bunch of tattoos, especially across his arms, his chest, and on his neck and back. You can see them in this photo. He's actually originally from Korea, and they're saying he is obviously an Asian male. His weight is between 100 to 210 pounds. He's 5'9", and he was born in 1985. But apparently, he changes his birth date between June 29 and July 29 to try and throw people off. He uses the name Cameron Lee, but his name is spelled Cameron, but he uses the other spelling Cameron. He also uses a variety of other names: Taiwan Lee, Major, Taiwan Lee spelt individually or phonetically, and then Sorion Chi. So he often changes his name. He has a bunch of tattoos, including one that says New York across his upper back and Timeless on his neck. A crucifix necklace, which has skulls on it, and a reaper surrounded by bullets. An image of I-95 and I-495 and a Statue of Liberty on his left arm, which he also has a No Days Off tattoo on his collarbones, along with a skull with an hourglass in its mouth that says every second, every day. He has a lot of tattoos, so there's the photo of what he looks like. He probably looks like a different person now, I would think. And here is Athena Lee. There's a photo of what she looked like before she went missing. May look different now. And there's Mateo. There's a photo. He is apparently a little older now. So he was only a little baby when he was taken. He was born January 31st, 2022, unfortunately. Hey, sorry. All right. All right. I think that's it, but that's a good update, at least from the FBI. I reckon they put this out there because they know they're not too far away. I reckon they know some information, but they're trying to get a bit more to track him down. So hopefully they can figure that out, because he's got to come back and face that murder charge for the death of that young lady. It's awful. Killed his partner and now took his 2 children and disappeared into the ether of Mexico. 2 years, almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in a few months' time that he has been a fugitive of the law. So, all right. Actually, no, that was the cat. That was the cat. That was not her. That was actually the cat. All right. All right. Let's get out of here for the night. Short show tonight. I'm sorry about that. Web sleuths got done real late, almost like 5 o'clock my time. So not a time that we like to do it, unfortunately. But tomorrow, no show from those two. I'll be back tomorrow and we'll be on early. We'll be on early tomorrow. So I hope you enjoy the show tomorrow. I love you all. Thank you to Peachy for the membership. I appreciate it. Hope everyone's safe and followed us into the new year. All right, I'll see you tomorrow for another day of this new year, day 3 apparently. Should we start putting that on the videos, like day 3 of 2026? Well, we may do that. We'll count it down like we're in some sort of far land, trapped in a far land. All right. Good night, everyone. Bye.